Now, South African miners have a long history of protesting for better wages. Are miners in this country caught in a generational crisis, and who must save them? Many have been forced to work far away from their families in order to provide for them. Ironically, their low wages have made it difficult for them to do things such as pay for quality education for their children. The issue is a complex one, but thankfully, Professor Pitika Ntuli is in the studio with us now to help us unpack this. Prof, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we've seen that, generation after generation, we've seen the miners striking for a long time for better wages, and it's like it's a never-ending cycle. They are caught in it. How can we resolve this?
I think there has got to be a commitment to the basic human values. People to realize that they are not the only people, the only beneficiaries of a society. The whole traditional issues of Ubuntu, I am because you are. If I am going to get money that is 15 times more than other people who are laboring under difficult conditions, it means to say therefore that there are other cultural betrayals or greed is so much gripped us that human values are not what they ought to be.
I mean, by today, 2013, we shouldn't really be talking about increasing of wages in the mining sector. The mining sector has been the backbone of the South African economy for decades, and we've had workers come from all over Southern Africa. I'm reminded now, as I'm thinking about it, about Hugh Masekela's famous song Stimela, where he talks about this train that's bringing all these workers, migrant laborers from across Southern Africa. Why are we still battling? Why is the mining sector not really saying, these workers deserve, we've built so much wealth through them, through their grandfathers, great-grandfathers?
Yeah, but the mining sector thrives on that kind of a history. People came from Tanzania, Zambia, and all. They were very vulnerable people, migrants. If they refused to get any offer, they would actually be deported. Today, they come from the remotest part of Limpopo or the Eastern Cape, where there's absolutely nothing. And the same mentality that the old colonialists and the apartheid, grandchildren, has come over into us in a new kind of a democracy. That when people raise these issues, what are we doing? We are silencing the voices of the children of these people. We are disadvantaging generations.
So if we're not paying accordingly in terms of the mining sectors, we are saying to the kids of these miners that there's no future for you.
Exactly. We are saying that there's absolutely no future for you. These people come, say, from the Eastern Cape, and they come in here, many of them, in order to survive. Then they start relationships around in here. They've got to look after these people, and they've got to go and look after the other people. The whole thing gets actually bedeviled.
And currently it's not helped by the level of unemployment we have. You find that you're even looking after more than the people you thought you should be looking after.
Yeah, that you should be. But as you asked earlier on, what should actually be done? I think a study has got to be taken as to whether who owns these mines, who holds shares actually onto these mines, how much are the officials being paid, who actually benefits out of it.
But we have an idea. I mean, some of them are listed on the stock exchange. They issue annual reports where you can see who are the main shareholders. What do you mean we have to do is that to know who owns? What's behind that comment from you?
I mean, behind the comments actually for me is that if you've got people that are absolutely politically, very powerful and benefiting out of that kind of systems, then we are not going to have this situation, resolved, because, greed breeds, greed. More money you actually get, it becomes an addiction at the expense of the ordinary people.
Okay, now thank you very much, Professor Pitika Ntuli, historian, to us, just unpacking the history of mining workers and people being caught in generations after generations with low salaries.
News that moves. eNCA.com.